Hey guys, Coach Derek here with your Healthy Foundation segment brought to you by Alliance for Shared Health. And today we're going to talk about something that is on everybody's mind already, carbs. Most people are going super low carb, keto, you name it, they're cutting carbs completely. And that can be a huge mistake. The big benefit and what we're going to teach you guys today is how to have higher quality, better carbs, not necessarily fewer carbs. If you cut carbs completely, you could be super low to no energy. And secondly, you can create all sorts of problems by having no carbs. Carbohydrates are going to be a big fuel for performance. So if you're a super active individual and you're also low carb, you can really disrupt your hormones. So what we're going to teach you how to do is have better, higher quality carbohydrate choices. Our research generally shows that going too low carb is going to have you feel low energy, anxious, stressed out, and deprived. The big takeaway here is to have smart carb choices. By having the right amount of carbohydrates and having high quality carbohydrates, you're gonna feel full, have the right amount of energy, and not feel super stressed out and anxious. And overall, you're gonna perform much better having the right amount of carbohydrates. Carbs generally exist on a continuum. On the one end, you have potato chips, candy, basically anything that you get at a convenience store that's super ultra processed, and maybe we shouldn't make those choices all the time. On the other end, we have smart carb choices. Things like dark skinned berries, fruits, lots of vegetables, and maybe white potatoes and sweet potatoes. Those are generally gonna be much better choices. Smart carbs include fruits. They can be fresh or frozen. Starchy tubers, we're talking about potatoes and sweet potatoes. Other starchy fruits and vegetables such as plantains and squashes. And then whole minimally processed grains are also great too. Things like quinoa, brown or wild rice, slow cooking oats, fantastic choices. Lastly, you have beans and legumes. These are all really good smart carb choices. What you're gonna do is looking at your daily routine and your daily menu. Instead of having, say for example, some breads or pastas or something that comes out of the box, we're just gonna make a little bit better choice. So instead of a pasta, I could have maybe some wild rice or some quinoa, or a baked potato or a sweet potato. By making just a little bit easier and better choice, that smart carbohydrate is gonna do much, much better things for your body and your overall energy than that processed food would. These are things like cupcakes, fruits, candies, pastries, things that you generally know that you shouldn't go for, and they should generally be avoided. They don't have a lot of fiber, they don't have a lot of nutrients, they don't have a lot of quality, and nothing that they provide for your body. They're basically just empty calories that you take in. They may feel great in the moment, but overall, they're not gonna make you feel great long term, and they're not gonna be great health choices. When it comes to carbohydrates, keep it simple. You're looking for whole, unprocessed, or minimally processed foods that actually add some fiber, some nutrients, and something to your diet. And you're staying away from things like pastries and candies and things that don't really add anything. The goal here is to add nutrients and make good choices that fuel you and actually give you energy long term. And by making smart carbohydrate choices, you can actually improve your body composition, lose fat, and feel way, way better. When it comes to making carb choices, a lot of the times we tell ourselves stories. I have to feel deprived, I have to take things away, I have to have an all or nothing mentality. And those stories can oftentimes sabotage us. First story, you have to be perfect to have any results. In reality, being consistent and good enough and the routine that you can actually stick to is the one that's gonna actually give you results. The second story is this all or nothing mentality that I have to do everything perfect or nothing is gonna give me anything. And the reality is there's a big spectrum here. You can have great results, you can have minimal results, you can still have some results, but even small results are results. Everything here that you're gonna do is gonna operate along a spectrum. Third story is everything is either good or bad. Recognize that good and bad are small children trade-offs. What actually happens here is having deeper values and making the choices that are gonna be best for you, experimenting for yourself and making the right choices for you. The screw it effect. What happens a lot of the times is we make one bad choice or one less than optimal choice, say screw it, and the whole day is gone and we're eating candy and chips and over consuming and feeling like not so great. The reality is here that there's a lot of choices that we can make and they're not gonna necessarily hurt us long term. If we're consistent day in and day out, one bad choice or less than optimal choice isn't gonna sabotage our results. Story number 5 is the cheat day. And that can be really self-sabotaging to an overall great nutrition or health plan. If I'm eating 6 days a week really well, and then on my 7th day, I just go crazy and I end up in food purgatory where I'm eating every and any bad food that there is, I can often self-sabotage all of those results from the first 6 days. So what we wanna do is have an abundance mindset. Those foods are always gonna be there. Pizzas, candies, cakes, foods. I can have them anytime I want. And having them in a balanced fashion as opposed to a huge cheat day can be much better overall psychologically and for my results. The stories that we tell ourselves are these rationalizations. I made this less than optimal choice, or this day is a wash, or I was stressed out here. Now the big takeaway here is to notice and name when you're rationalizing to yourself. When you can notice those rationalizations and actually think through them logically and be mindful, you're gonna make way better choices and you're not gonna sabotage yourself, your smart carb choices, or your great nutrition choices. So let's talk about working out and how we have high quality exercise programs. When it comes to the last 1 to 2 to 3 repetitions, you should feel very challenged there while still having high quality movement. Sometimes you may even want to fail a rep or 2 to make sure that you're really pushing yourself at the end. So when you have high quality movement, adding additional weight or adding more repetitions to make sure that you're challenged within a workout program is where you're going to derive the most and best results. I'm going to show you what a challenge rep or a good rep that is appropriate for the end of a set should kind of look like. Now we're going to use a barbell bench press. You could use a dumbbell bench press. You could use a push-up. Or you could use any type of pressing movement. Recognize that the movement that you choose isn't quite as important as getting the last couple reps right. So what this is gonna look like is I'm still gonna have my feet planted on the ground, my chest is gonna be nice and supported, I'm gonna still have the barbell. Now I'm gonna come down, and this could be challenging here, but as I press up, what I'm gonna look for is it's difficult and the bar may be moving slow, but I'm not losing my position. Now let's see what this kind of looks like when you do it inappropriately. Maybe I come down and I lose my chest, I bounce the barbell, and then the bar is kind of moving all over the place and I'm compensating all sorts of ways. As long as I can maintain my positions, it's okay if I go slow. So I still hold the positions, and then I'm very challenged as I press through this last repetition. And because it's difficult, the barbell moves slow, but as long as I hold my position, that's a great rep. Now, if I hold my positions and that last 1 to 2 repetitions isn't a 9 or a 10 difficulty, I know that I need to increase the weight or increase the amount of repetitions that I'm doing. Now we're gonna show you a squat that looks about as challenging as it should at the very end. My chest is gonna stay upright, my head is gonna stay neutral, nice and controlled on the way down, full range of motion here, and back up. And now the last rep will probably look quite challenging. So as I come down, I'm still holding my positions. And then as I come up, I'm gonna probably wanna lean forwards, but as long as I can kind of hold that position, that's probably a great repetition. Now for me, I don't have the ankle mobility, so I have a barbell plate here to make sure that I can have high quality, good movement.